Welcome to The Last Word, my weekly commentary on life and work in San Antonio and Texas. And speaking of San Antonio, we lie 1,400 long miles away from fire-scorched Los Angeles, but in a world of streaming video filling the screens of our smartphones and other devices, it seems like the city and region next door, hit hard by extreme weather events. We in Texas can sympathize. We've had our own increasing number of experiences with extreme weather, drought, and wildfires. Fortunately, our cities have been spared. It's unfortunate that partisan politics is having an impact on desperately needed federal aid in the communities ravaged by the Santa Ana winds and fast-spreading destructive fires. California Governor Gavin Newsom is a prominent national figure in the Democratic Party and a likely future presidential candidate. In other words, someone President Donald Trump loathes. That's become evident in recent weeks as Trump has threatened to withhold federal emergency management agency funds. Trump has gone one bigger political play and called for the elimination of FEMA, presumably something he and his unelected consort, Elon Musk, are probably considering. Eliminating the federal government's emergency response agency amid one of the worst wildfires in U.S. history is astonishingly wrong-headed, not to mention cruel. FEMA is certainly fair game for critical review and reform. Anyone who remembers the agency's dismal record of service in New Orleans in the wake of Hurricane Katrina knows the agency is not high-functioning. North Carolina residents and other inland victims of Hurricane Helene and the flooding that ensued in September would concur. President Trump made the obligatory presidential tour of the disaster areas in North Carolina and Southern California last week. However, instead of offering sympathy and the substantial resources the federal government can deploy, Trump used his public appearances to recite his grievances with the agency and his call for its possible elimination. People still in shock from losing their homes and everything in them found little comfort in Trump's brief visit. State and local officials still counting the dead and dealing with massive displacement and new wildfires in Southern California received little or nothing in the way of help either. President Jimmy Carter, who recently died at age 100, signed into law the legislation creating FEMA in 1979. For 45 years, the federal government's primary responsibility for emergency response has aided states in recovering from catastrophes. Without FEMA, the outcomes over those decades would have been very different in many deeply damaged communities. As climate change and extreme weather grow more ominous with each passing year, we need a well-managed FEMA more than ever. Texas will one day experience another major hurricane, another devastating tornado, an out-of-control wildfire, or some other extreme weather event. Let's hope we don't need to turn to FEMA for desperately needed support. If such circumstances do arise, no one here will be calling for FEMA's elimination. That's my last word for this week. Thank you for listening. Please share this episode with friends and colleagues and sign up for Monday Musings, our new newsletter. Big City Small Town is brought to you by Western Urban, building the city our children want to call home, and Geekdom, where startups are born and smart ideas become businesses. Our producer is Corey Ames, video by Erica Rempel, sound engineering by Alfie De La Garza of Sound Crane Audio. We will see you next week.